The word of the day is grace. Grace for the fact that we all grew up in the same society, the same overculture, that no matter our individual markers of identity, we all have the same overall programming that we are all, in various ways, working to break free from. Grace for the fact that some people learn certain things differently and less quickly. Grace for the fact that not everyone knows the right thing to say at the right time, and all of us have, as I said before, programming, which is difficult to break. Grace for ourselves, because sometimes we think some pretty rough stuff because of that programming. And we have been taught that what's deep down on the inside is what matters, but I think that what's deep down on the inside is the programming, and what you allow to come into the world is the person who you are and who you want to be. Because what you put into the world is what other people know of you. But let that grace also be uncompromising. A related story. There is a woman in my neighborhood. She is an older woman, and we became friendly as I walked around every day and saw her pretty much daily. And she was the sort of person who, if I got into a conversation with her about pronouns or about gender or about a lot of things, it would have just gone nowhere. But she once, just out of nowhere, said to me, like, I really like your nails, and you present yourself in a way, you are an individual, and you should just keep doing that, baby. Just keep doing you. And with that, she showed me that she understands much more than a person who knows the right pronouns and who knows the right things to say, but deep down just regards me as, some dude, or is like a white person who knows the right things to say, but still low key is a little bit freaked out by black people. It's not an either or, it's a both and. Language is super important, but actions are the most important. It's kind of like reclaiming words. While groups can reclaim words that have been used against them, if the wrong person says that word, it's still going to sting just the same. That uncompromising grace should be that we are trying our best to make the world a better place. That uncompromising grace should be the willingness to actually sever ties with people who don't actually see the world in the way that we do, and to accept the ones that do see the world in the same way that we do, even if they don't use the right language or present themselves the way that we would like them to. This is something that I'm, of course, still working on and always will be, because I think it is more important for us to understand that we all have ableism, sexism, racism, all of these things are part of our programming. But those of us that are dissecting and attempting to excise those parts of ourselves, or at least to understand when they are trying to rear their heads, are the ones that are going to make things better. And to be clear, I'm not making the argument that some people are inexplicably making right now, that we should align with those who are avowed and happy to be sexist or racist or ableist, etc. That's not the way. I'm saying that it is important for us to extend grace to those who, like us, are still just trying to get shit right. As I've said before, you will always get more disagreement between architects than you will with arsonists. If someone is aiming for things to get worse or to subjugate everyone, there's lots of ways to do that, and they're fine with any of the ways that it happens. But if you're trying to build a better world, you get pretty specific about how you want that to be or how you think that will happen best. So the final bit of grace is that, yes, it's a little bit tricky, and there is more disagreement and tension and discord on the left because we are trying to make things better, and we have the hardest fight. We have so much more tension about things because the world has never looked the way that we want it to look, the way we think it should be. Every one of us has a lot of residual tension for dealing with the aforementioned isms, even the ones about us that are within us. So let us extend that uncompromising grace into the world around us and make the world better. And not just by using the right words, but by doing and by seeing and by loving. That's really what it's all about. Ain't none of us perfect, and we all have some pretty messed up thoughts. That's why people who do stuff like, oh, well, I'm just saying what everybody else was thinking, that's why that thing is so popular, right? But I always look at people sideways who say things like that, because while everybody may have been thinking it, most of us had the good sense and or kindness not to actually say it out loud. And you pandering to people's worst instincts is not a flex.